Yo, what up YouTube? This your boy SP the GOAT, and I'm back at y'all again with another episode of Power Book 3, Season 5, Raising Kanan. In this episode, they called it Pawns and Rooks, but we gonna remix it and call it Crucial Conflict. Because there's so many conflicts in this episode, you might lose track of it if you get caught up in the storyline. But somebody's got more problems than solutions than they would like to admit. And it's those problems that could get them up out of here. In this episode, we got Breeze becoming a boss. We got Jukebox learning what it's like to be an adult in the game. We got Marvin continuing his big turn. Then we got Rock trying to manage all of the relationships she might have in her little black book after this stunt Kanan pulled. But you gotta understand that this episode wasn't about who gains power. It's about how they pursue power. So you know how we do. Hit that like button, hit that hype button, and subscribe. I appreciate all the love and support and all the feedback, and I love y'all back. And with that being said, let's get into it. The first conflict we're gonna talk about is Jukebox and Detective Garcia over money problems. We see Jukebox and Detective Garcia get into it over money and their arrangement. Now out the gate, Detective Garcia is not impressed that Jukebox is shorting him on her first payment for protection and information. He goes absolutely nuts and bananas at the table, but he's keeping an air of unpredictability, so Jukebox doesn't get too comfortable with the arrangement and shorten him on the money with everything he has to risk. So I think this is where Jukebox is going to get the idea she can be a cop on the take when she grows up in OG Power. And I think that this relationship that she has with Garcia is going to help her understand how to navigate that role once she gets a little bit older, and all of those bad habits that she has as a DC officer. I think she's going to learn them here from Detective Garcia. The next conflict we have is Jukebox and Marvin. So after we see Jukebox and Garcia meet, Juke tries to convince Marvin that he could benefit from the connection with Garcia, finally unveiling her plan to get money to pay Garcia through the club. But Marvin is completely oblivious to Jukebox manipulating him into giving her that job at the bar specifically for this reason last episode. He just complimented her on how fast she made the connection, but he won't pay her debts with Garcia, causing some conflict for Juke and Marvin and how she's going to figure out how to get Garcia this money, because her manipulation on Marvin only goes so far. And speaking of Marvin, it looks like he keeps turning into something new each episode since Uncle Lou got up out of here. He's looking at getting into heaven, and it's not a good look for Team Independent or Team Manhattan, because you can see Marvin does not have his head in the game. So in his brewing conflict with Rock, it's not over the street, it's not over power, it's going to be over his morals in his big turn and how his head is not in the game. For instance, neither one of them looked like they were completely sold on using the Tennessee hitters for Stefano, but they went along with it anyway. It was Marvin's suggestion, and Marvin decided to take them over to Stefano's spot to case it out before the hit. This turned out to be a fatal flaw, as we see later in the episode. He could have showed them a picture or anything else other than giving them the exact location where to meet with him, talk with him, get crossed up, pull a double, and end up in a triple cross like we saw happen. But we also see that conflict come up with Marvin and Rock again over the Flossie meeting. Rock is still concerned with Marvin starting a side hustle with Flossie after she sees how Flossie is taking a liking to Marvin, much like the whole Stefano situation. But Marvin set Rock straight. He cleansed his soul with Rock. He even clowned Rock's parenting, comparing Kanan dropping bodies to Juke just getting in the game, even though he don't realize that Juke is way more advanced than he realizes, but she's just hiding it well. But he smoothed that conflict over with Rock by showing us just how out of the game his head is. And he let us know that by telling Rock, "We all we got," in so many words. He's focused more on the bond between him and Rock than he is on the work. He's not worried about the game, money, or anything else. He's worried and concerned that it's just him and Rock left. It almost seems like he's trying to atone for whatever's he's done in the past, which doesn't look good for Team Manhattan or Team Independent. So we might need to start a countdown timer for when we're going to see Uncle Marvin get up out of here. My prediction is before episode 7, and I'm going to go ahead and put my bid in for episode 6, and I hope I'm wrong. The next conflict that pops up is going to be the first big conflict because it could have a huge effect on Team Manhattan, and that is the conflict between Rock and Flossie Siegel. And this conflict isn't over money, the game, or morals. It's about Kanan and Rock's efforts to clean up his mess time and time again. Now in this episode, we saw Kanan snatch up one of Flossie Siegel's girls and hand her that Lucinda Williams Mo Better pack, send her upstairs to a federal judge where he eventually inhaled too deeply. Now, after that, Flossie called a meeting with Rock and Marvin and the call girl, and she makes it known that her clientele does not OD from those types of things. I can't say it because it's YouTube, which I think is really funny, the name that they called it, because they're both illegal. But anyway, after Flossie dismisses the call girl, Rock asks Flossie if she wants her to do something to the girl that can't be undone. And Flossie almost looks disgusted, but she reveals a little bit more about herself when she says if she murked somebody, then it has to be worth it. Or, in other words, it has to be justified. But what would make Flossie murk someone? We already know that she has a particular idea about men, and she has no problem putting one between their eyes given a chance. But she does care about this federal judge, and we also know that a backdoor on a fellow woman without some justification or cause is not enough for Flossie to make that move. Another thing we learned about Flossie is that she does have a relationship with her dad good enough to remember and use what he taught her growing up. But this conflict on its own is a potential powder keg. Why? Because of Kanan and Rock's need to clean up Kanan's messes. The only reason why Rock wants to silence the girl is because of the message that Kanan sent to say that it was him. If that girl lives and Flossie finds out, when she goes to talk to her on the one-on-one without Marvin, without Rock, then there will be hell to pay. And Rock's business is finished in Manhattan, or at least her moving stuff through the club and the girls. So I'm expecting a little bit more of this conflict to come up in the episodes to come, simply because Kanan, I don't think, is going to stop trying to hit Rock's operation. And at some point, Flossie is going to find out about what's going on and also find out that Kanan is Rock's son. The next big conflict we have is the conflict between Joaquin and Rock. We see Rock meet with Joaquin so that she can start moving snowflakes in Manhattan. Rock appeals to Joaquin's interest, telling him that she wants to get him some more money. But Joaquin is a little bit hesitant, and we all know what that's about. Juliana. You see, back when Rock took Juliana off the map back in season 3, episode 8, Joaquin wasn't 100% behind it. But Rock manufactured a situation that put Juliana in over her head, then asked Joaquin for permission to take a shot. Now Joaquin had no alternative but to say yes, given the spiderweb Rock created around Juliana. So now we have Rock trying to get Joaquin back in the mix to move snowflakes up in Manhattan under Flossie and Pino, and maybe she'll have a different way to move the snowflakes than with the girls and Flossie, but we know how Rock moves. This has a potential to become a complete backdoor situation for Rock because we can see Joaquin is hesitant to deal with her. So I'm expecting for her to be able to move Joaquin's snowflakes across Manhattan somewhere or another. But Joaquin is going to be looking for his way to take a shot at Rock. Now, two wrongs don't make it right, but it'll make it even in these streets. So of course, Joaquin is interested. And now we're going to talk about one of the most interesting conflicts of this episode. Because the next conflict we have on the rise is between Rock and Pino Bernardi. Pino specifically asked Rock to go over there to Queens and smooth things over with Stefano. He told her flat out, I can't have any more headaches, because Stefano is telling people about his gripes with Pino's arrangement with Rock. And apparently he's telling everybody but Santa Claus, because the higher ups now know about Rock and her beef with Stefano. Pino told Rock specifically that she hurt Stefano's pride. Rock says, okay, hold my beer. I'll go over there and talk to him. We don't have nothing to talk about. So she steps in the building, sits down with Stefano, and proceeds to twist the knife in Stefano's pancreas and appendix. From the gate, she says she only took the meeting because she respects the people that she works with. But this is mad disrespectful to go there and disrespect the wishes of the person you went to take the meeting on behalf of. Stefano tried to elbow a point or two to control the options for Rock so she can play from the cards of the deck that he deals from instead of Rock dealing from the deck that she holds. And she let him know that's not how it's gonna go, but she did it in the most Rock way possible. Now, while she came off a little bit brash in her meeting with Stefano, she used selective honesty and showed her generosity to try to disarm him when she says, look, I paid more than my fair share, Stefano. But Stefano is still trying to take a piece of what she's doing with Pino, but she didn't know when to stop. But she had to stir up those waters here to catch a fish, and that fish was whether or not Stefano was gonna put a green light on her. And Stefano let her know right off the bat he should have put her and Marvin in the dirt when he had a chance. So when she meets with Marvin, she decides to ask Marvin for a recommendation on hitters. And Marvin, doing Marvin things because he's a gangster, represents the goof troop of hitters. Shout out to Memphis though. But this is going to come back to bite Marvin and Rock in the hind parts, because not only did Stefano send one of the hitters' hat directly back to them, but he's already been complaining to everybody about their little beef. So Stefano could end the war and Rock and Marvin by going to complain to the higher ups about Rock's attempted hit, but his ego won't let him, even though he's already been complaining to everybody about Rock. But this is different. She took a swing at an Italian mob boss and missed. So not only did her attempt to hide her hands in this participation fail, but he sent the hat back to her just to let her know what's about to come her way. So you can expect for this to get back to Pino and the higher ups in the mafia at some point, which 9 times out of 10 means that Rock might have some Italian problems before the end of this series, and it might not be too far gone to say that she might have a green light on her sooner than we expected. We already got Stefano coming at her, but I think now that she's disrespected Pino, that green light just got a bit brighter. Either that, or her blessing in Manhattan is about to get revoked when Pino finds out what she did in that meeting with Stefano, because he's going to find out. Rock is quietly racking up enemies with Joaquin, Stefano, and Pino, since she just disrespected Stefano flat out and disrespected Pino by disrespecting Stefano when she went to speak to Stefano on Pino's behalf. She also left Flossie with a bad taste in her mouth after those spies and asked him if she wanted her to murk the call girl. Not to mention, she still has Kanan gunning for her, with Breeze at the forefront of it all. But here's a wild theory. I think she is actually building the foundations for truth in Shirley's club, Cafe Vu, which is in Greenwich Village up in New York, but she'll have to run and leave the club at some point to save her life, since everybody will be gunning for her in the end. Pino might actually be that person to greenlight the hit. Now, here's a conflict everybody wanted to see: Rock and Breeze. Now, when they first meet, Rock is coming out the gate at him and tells him she is still the queen of queens. But Breeze begs to differ. He used selective honesty to disarm Rock and not offend her by saying that he knows she meant something there on the streets there in Queens, but now he's there taking it over. This lets us know that he's looking to be the king of Queens by taking her spot, and he's going to be that king in his own right when he tells her that she's not going to dictate what goes on in the streets of Queens. He met with her face to face, not Stefano, not Snaps, not Pops, not even Kanan. If you want to be the king, you got to act like one, and that's what he's doing here. So after she figures out she's not going to elbow Breeze out of a piece of his action with Stefano Marchetti, she ends the meeting with, and you could tell Kanan the same thing, meaning that she already knows that Breeze didn't tell Kanan that he was meeting with her, probably from the way he made note of her looks, which would let her know that he didn't talk to Kanan, because Kanan would have told her, while she looks like that, she is not the one to try to flatter. But while Rock uses pressure to try to exert her power, Breeze uses patience. And feeling Rock out, hearing what she has to say about her theories on these mean streets of Queens. I'm expecting this game between Breeze and Rock to intensify at some point, but I'm expecting Rock to have to leave town before it can get too loud. My theory on this is that Rock escapes to Miami, meets up with Unique, and is down there chilling, which is why Kanan in OG Power says that he's just getting back from seeing Rock. Now, we all know that Ghost's operation in OG Power was getting hit by Pink Heels, who was from Miami. Just think about that. I'm gonna put a pin in that and I'm gonna let that cook for a little bit. But I think that's what's gonna happen here during this conflict between Breeze and Rock. So, you know this video would not be complete if we did not talk about Breeze, Taz, and Kanan's situation. From the jump, Kanan didn't really care for Taz anyway. He approached him pulling up in his 89 Supra, talking that talk, acting like he was just gonna bow down and let him talk reckless to Kanan in front of his crew on the corner. Now, for anybody that's wondering, Taz looks like he might be a little bit older than Kanan and Breeze. So Taz could be one of the OGs in Breeze's way for his plan of taking the crown in Queens. And he's using Kanan, his new Rook, to do it. And he's doing it this way to keep his hands clean. And Breeze's campaign started once they ran Unique up out of Queens. So in the middle of it all, Kanan tells him, look, it's whatever you say, dude, but not really. He's playing to Taz's fantasy, because that's what Taz thinks he is. He thinks he's a boss, he thinks he's powerful, irreplaceable in this mix. But after the words heard around the block, Breeze's corner boys go to the drop and tells Breeze that Taz and Kanan had some words out on the corner. And while this is happening, Breeze isn't saying a word. He's sitting there playing chess, moving his pieces, because he already knows what's about to happen. He's the one that set the stage, and he's the one moving the pieces. Later, Breeze says to Kanan Taz was short on the money, and Kanan goes to confront Taz. In other words, Breeze sent his Rook to take out his pawn. Taz comes off as a dummy, but we find out Taz ain't as dumb as he comes off to be. He tells Kanan Breeze is playing them against each other for the right-hand man spot. After some words came, it ended up Kanan was the winner and Taz ended up in a furnace. And this is where the conflict begins with Breeze and Kanan. You see, the whole reason why Taz is inside that furnace is because Breeze moved some chess pieces. But in dismembering Taz, Breeze starts to probe Kanan to see if he knew that it was Rock that hit the block on 150. And Kanan plays a sucker to catch a sucker. He says he had ideas, but he didn't know for sure. But we all know that he knew for sure because he grabbed up one of Flossie Siegel's girls from in front of the club, gave her a Mo Better Blues pack, and sent her to her next job, which happened to be that federal judge. But Kanan's not going to tell Breeze that, so Kanan cross-checks Breeze and says Taz's money wasn't short. You wanted to see what would happen, but he's not that smart. He's just using the information he got from Taz to see how Breeze is going to react. And Breeze tells him he's right, keeping that trust between Breeze and Kanan. So Kanan probes Breeze to find out whether or not Kanan is going to end up in the furnace at some point, like Breeze's former right-hand man, Taz. Breeze knocks back no, because Taz is not you. You're my brother. So let's talk about this for a second, because Breeze tells Kanan that they're blood brothers through DEF CON, which we all know is BS, because early on, Rock tells Detective Howard that DEF CON was left-handed, meaning that he did not deal with women. Kanan doesn't know this, but we don't know if Breeze knows this, or whether Breeze is using this to control Kanan, or is he being for really though? It's always been that legacy matters with Snaps and Pop. Could this be the reason why? Or is this just a way to wheel Kanan in up under his wing so that he would be the rook that Breeze needs on these corners? We already saw Breeze be disingenuous toward Unique when Unique was trying to get information from him about the meetup and why he wasn't included and whether or not he was fooled. But this time, it's a little bit different because Breeze wasn't responding like he was with Unique. But this is probably because Kanan isn't pressing Breeze the same way Unique was pressing Breeze about the meeting. My theory on this is that Breeze will find out about Kanan snatching up the girl and take credit for it to make him look like he has control over Kanan and appear more powerful to Rock, like he's a threat. I don't think that Breeze will retaliate against Kanan when he does find out about this information. It'll let us know whether he was being sincere about Kanan being brothers or whether or not he was blowing smoke. Because my expectation is if he was not being sincere about them being blood brothers, when he does find out, Kanan will end up in the furnace. But we all know that doesn't happen because in OG Power, Kanan is here, Breeze is not. Now last, and certainly not least, we have the conflict between Tiana and Kanan over business. Now in true Detective Howard fashion, we find out that Kanan is calling girls to connect with since he lost Crystal. Kanan, much like Jukebox, is looking for someone outside of the game that he can feel normal with, and he found that in Tiana. Tiana tells Kanan a whole bunch of different things all at once. She got a disabled brother, this is why she does what she does, she has a degree in psychology, but it doesn't pay the bills. Everything leads back to her doing her business. And then she offers that she works for Flossie and describes Rock, but doesn't use Rock's name. So it's not clear to us whether or not Kanan knows she's in business with Rock. But he definitely knows that she's one of Flossie's girls. Tiana then tells Kanan nothing about them is real because she feels like Kanan just wants to buy her like every other guy. But Kanan, being persuasive, keeps her interested, and then she tells him the big term. Her name is Jarita. But then we find out later in the episode that Kanan snatches one of Flossie's girls that's not Jarita and gives them a Mo Better pack. This is a direct response to Rock spinning the block on 150th. It didn't come from Breeze. Kanan was moving on his own with this one. So many questions pop up about this dynamic between Jarita and Kanan at this point. Jarita is choosing to be honest with him, but to what extent? How did Kanan know which girls to snatch and which girls were on call? because not all of Flossie's girls are part of that ring between Flossie and Rock. When did he have time to stake out their routes? Did Jarita tell him? Either way, Kanan snatched up the girl, and we know we did this to mess up Rock's business in Manhattan for the 150th hit last episode. But this is how Kanan responded, which is exactly what Rock expected from Breeze, but Breeze met with Rock instead, putting Rock on notice he plays a different game. So, my theory is that Jarita is helping Kanan because Kanan tells her he wanted to bring her to his apartment because the hotel people kept asking questions. So this says to us that this is more than a 1 or 2 time thing for them, but he doesn't know that she's working for Rock yet. So in those times that she did meet with Kanan, she could be running off at the mouth just like she was telling her business about her brother, her psychology degree, Flossie, pillow talk. And this could be how Kanan found out about which girls were walking for Flossie and Rock. And if Jarita is not helping Kanan, when he does find out that she's working for Rock, will he use Jarita to mess up Rock's operation like he did in this episode, but not tell Jarita that Rock is his mom? I mean, it still could be that Jarita is playing a long game and she's on Rock's payroll. There's no evidence supporting this, but let's keep watching Jarita and see where her loyalties lie with this whole mess. And that's the episode, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Please leave y'all comments, concerns, complaints, moans, groans, and frustrations all in the comments below. I will read each and every one of them. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for supporting. I'll see y'all in the next one. Gone.